What is going on, guys? This is Crozen, and welcome to the Pure Faith build. So, at the time that I'm making this, Faith got a really good buff this week in the latest patch, and they buffed a lot of different things. I know they made strength builds a lot better because of the Colossal Swords and Colossal Weapon damage, but they also increased the casting speed of a lot of different sorceries and incantations, and I feel like Faith is finally fun and viable now. You're not just stuck to slinging rocks like you were in the past, and now you got a whole different variety of different incantations that you can use. And specifically, the lightning spear or the spear variants, those actually have poise now whenever you cast them. So more times than not, you're not going to get staggered whenever you cast those things, especially when you're going up against players. And it makes it to where now things are a little different, where Faith was not really that strong before, but now it's kind of like where it needed to be, except now we're just 2 months late when a lot of people already left this game. But yeah, let's get into the stats. So looking at the stats over on the right, I chose the Vagabond class and I got 50 Vigor, 27 Mind, 22 Endurance, 16 Strength, and 13 Dexterity in order to use a Claymore. And then I raised up my Faith to 60 and I got plus 5 from a Talisman. So if you're going up to level 150, you probably can go for 80 Faith, maybe raise up your Vigor a little bit, maybe your Mind. I really wouldn't invest any more in Strength or Dexterity here, as this is mainly just to have a secondary weapon that you can swing with, and something with a very light investment in Strength and Dexterity, and that's the Claymore for me. As far as the affinities and other weapons that you can use any of these that I'm hovering over here, and you're going to be using Sacred and also Flame Art. You probably want to keep one of each. That way, in case an enemy is resistant to fire or holy. And then for the seals, we're using the Gravelstone seal and also the Erdtree seal in the offhand. If you take a look, they have very similar scaling. This one has 291, this one has 293. The only difference here is the Gravelstone seal will still win out for lightning incantations, as that is the passive boost that this one has. So that's why I like to use this one in my main hand. And then you guys already know me. I like to rock a shield on almost any build, and this build is no different. And the cool thing about this, having a seal in both hands, is it gives you two different playstyles, basically. So if you want a more defensive kind of playstyle where you can block, you could go right into a block, right into a spell in your main hand. Or if you want a more offensive type of playstyle, well, you could use your incantations in the offhand and still be swinging with your sword for some nice combos. So it's really up to you, but that's why I like using both of these, and having a shield as well just gives you more options, and that's always a good thing. So for the fashion, I got the Great Helm, Erdtree Surcoat, Bull Goat Gauntlets, and the Greaves. And the talismans, we're going to be using Flock's Canvas Talisman, Erdtree's Favor, Great Jar's Arsenal. I would say those are the three essential ones with this build. And then the last one, it's really personal preference. I just went for the Two Fingers Heirloom for a plus 5 in Faith. You have a couple of options here. You could go for Radagon Icon, Godfrey Icon. You could even use the Lightning Scorpion Charm. This will enhance the lightning attacks on all of your incantations. In fact, it will actually give you more damage than just this plus 5 Faith. However, you do suffer with a little bit of damage negation, so that's why I think the safest option is just Two Fingers Heirloom, and that's why I use this one. So now, for the fun part, we could take a look at some of the incantations that I use, and some of the ones that got buffed up here. So, before we go into that, I do want to mention one thing that's really going to help with a lot of the lightning incantations is using the Lightning Shrouding Cracked tier. You definitely want to use this. I believe it gives you a 20% boost, so it's just a big damage boost, and that's one that you always want to have with this build. But going for the spells here, I like to use Golden Vow. That's probably the one I always buff up with at the very beginning. You could even go for Flame Grant Me Strength too. It's really up to you. I find that with this build, I really only want to buff up once. So that's why I just use Golden Vow. And all the spears, as I said, they got a big buff in this latest patch, and you want to use a few of them. Lightning Spear, that's going to be your bread and butter. This is the one you're going to use most of the time, and you could snipe with this. It's always been a good incantation. The only problem was it didn't have a poise bonus, but now it's got that hyper armor, and now you can actually cast this without getting stunned for the most part. And then there's a couple of other ones. You could use Ancient Dragon's Lightning Spear or Frozen Lightning Spear. They're very similar. They're more like ground attacks, so you probably could use one or the other. And then Fortisax's Lightning Spear, this is the one that's just going to do a lot of damage if you can get this off. And now that it has the poise bonus, you can kind of get it off most of the time. You just want to wait until they're like very close range to you, and that way at that point it's kind of hard not to hit this. And Catch Flame, that one didn't get a buff. It's just one that I like to use. Black Flame, this one got a buff with damage, so it was already good. Now it's even better. And Ancient Dragon's Lightning Strike, this one got a slight buff in the recovery time, so you don't have any poise with this one or any casting speed increase, so just keep that in mind. And then I like to use Wrath of Gold. This one didn't get any buff, but it is a very good AoE to have on any kind of faith build. So there are a few other ones. I know the aspect of the Crucible tail and the horns, I know those got buffed. I still didn't really find much use for those. And you also got the Glaive. The Glaive is another one that has the poise bonus. And other than that, Black Flame Ritual, this one they increase the damage of, so you could even mess around with that one too if you want. And that is really it. So the only other thing I have to say, as you guys notice, I only got 7 Arcane. I'm not using any of the Dragon Breath incantations. If you want to use those, by all means just level up Arcane a little bit. I didn't really find much use for them. I mean, the only one that I find any good is Rotten Breath, and I don't think that's worth 5 points in Arcane, but that's just me. It's really just personal preference. So, hope you guys enjoyed this build. I know it was a lot to go over, and yeah, I just love faith builds now. I mean, they finally made it to where faith builds are viable, and they're good, and I like how they just give you a lot more options to choose from, and there's so many good incantations now since they buffed a bunch of them. And yeah, I recommend you guys to try one out. And if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know, and I guess I will see you in the next one. Peace out.